Hello, and welcome to Lesson 26. Let's go for it. My attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. It is surely obvious that if you can be attacked, you are not invulnerable. You see attack as a real threat. That is because you believe that you can really attack. And what would have effects through you must also have effects on you. It is this law that will ultimately save you, but you are misusing it now. You must therefore learn how it can be used for your own best interests rather than against them. Because your attack thoughts will be projected, you will fear attack. And if you fear attack, you must believe that you are not invulnerable. Attack thoughts therefore make you vulnerable in your own mind, which is where the attack thoughts are. Attack thoughts and invulnerability cannot be accepted together. They contradict each other. So remember, attack thoughts are just anything like fear, hatred, anger, unforgiveness, worry, doubt. These things are attack thoughts because you see yourself as vulnerable. You see that you are not being taken care of in the grand scheme of things. If you have any of these thoughts present in your mind, especially directed at another person, but also directed at yourself, if you have self-loathing, that is definitely an attack thought directed at you, and you believe that you can hurt you and that you believe you can hurt other people, you'll come to understand that none of that is real. And to get into the real world, we let go of those attack thoughts, and suddenly we're surrounded by beauty and love. Let's keep going. The idea for today introduces the thought that you always attack yourself first. If attack thoughts must entail the belief that you are vulnerable, their effect is to weaken you in your own eyes. Thus, they have attacked your perception of yourself. And because you believe in them, you can no longer believe in yourself. A false image of yourself has come to take the place of what you are. So oftentimes, as we move through this society and we deal with people, whether it's our own parents or teachers or religious leaders or friends or significant others, bosses, employees, as you get through your life, many times people create this image of themselves as awful, or they just have a low self-concept. They think they believe some of the negative things that people have said to them, or they come up with their own. Maybe they've been surrounded by wonderful people their whole life, but they just are insecure. They just don't think that they're worthy of the kindness that other people are showing them. And the thing is, you are. Everybody is perfect. What? No. Yeah, everybody is perfect. Their internal being is perfect. It's all of the stuff that we've brought on to ourselves that have made us a mess. Kind of think about all of my attack thoughts as this armor that I built around myself to protect myself from others and maybe even from my own self. And so each piece of armor is another attack thought, and it's heavy and it hurts and it doesn't actually protect me because nothing's being thrown at me. I'm not in a war. I'm in a war with myself. And so as I learned to really forgive, I realized that each attack thought I let go of was like taking off that heavy piece of armor. And it was scary. I felt very vulnerable. I was just like, ugh, I just felt so naked. And like I couldn't protect myself at first. But then as I got all the armor off, I realized how light I felt, how free I felt, how I felt like I could finally move and be and dance and just, I don't know, it's weird. And I also realized that all that I thought was protecting me was actually just weighing me down. And when I got rid of it and I was trusting in my higher self and in love and in peace and in joy, when I learned to trust in those things, hope, appreciation, I realized I didn't need that armor anyway, and that it was just holding me back. So attack thoughts are just going to hold you back, and they're going to make you vulnerable. And when I dropped that armor I actually became invulnerable. I know it sounds weird. Anyway, let's keep going. Practice with today's idea will help you to understand that vulnerability or invulnerability is the result of your own thoughts. Nothing except your thoughts can attack you. Nothing except your thoughts can make you think you are vulnerable. And nothing except your thoughts can prove to you this is not so. So nobody can convince you. I can't convince you. You have to experience this. And that's what the course is constantly teaching. You can read this book. You can have exhaustive conversations with other people, but until you sit down and do the work of looking at your attack thoughts, of learning to truly forgive and let go, until you do that, until you experience it from within, not a whole lot's going to happen. You'll get it up here in your intellectual space, but you won't get it in your being, in your core, where your mind and your heart is. Because our mind is separate than our brain. Our brain is the actual organ, but our mind it's not physical. It's like our soul. Okay. 6 practice periods are required in applying today's idea. A full 2 minutes should be attempted for each of them, although the time may be reduced to a minute if the discomfort is too great. Do not reduce it further. The practice period should begin with repeating the idea for today, then closing your eyes and reviewing the unresolved questions whose outcomes are causing you concern. The concern may take the form of depression, worry, anger, a sense of imposition, fear, foreboding, or preoccupation. Any problem as yet unsettled that tends to recur in your thoughts during the day is a suitable subject. You will not be able to use very many for any one practice period, because a longer time than usual should be spent with each one. So you're going deeper into each individual thought instead of just glossing over it and having a lot of thoughts. Today's idea should be applied as followed. First, name the situation. I am concerned about blank. Then go over every possible outcome that has occurred to you in that connection and which has caused you concern, referring to each one quite specifically saying, I am afraid blank will happen. If you are doing the exercises properly, you should have some 5 or 6 distressing possibilities available for each situation you use, and quite possibly more. It is much more helpful to cover a few situations thoroughly than touch on a large number. As the list of anticipated outcomes for each situation continues, you will probably find some of them, especially those that occur to you toward the end, less acceptable to you. Try, however, to treat them all alike to whatever extent you can. After you have named each outcome of which you are afraid, tell yourself, that thought is an attack upon myself. Conclude each practice period by repeating today's idea to yourself once more. So you're just saying, I'm concerned about, for example, let's say, I'm concerned about not making money. I'm afraid that I will not be able to pay rent. I'm afraid that I won't be able to keep my car. I am afraid that I will have to move back home with my parents. I am afraid that my dog will have to have different food that's not as good for her. I am afraid that I won't be able to enjoy my life to its fullest. That thought is an attack upon myself. So that's kind of how you go through it. It'll take a little bit longer. I was just pulling these ideas off the top of my head, which honestly, I guess some of them, maybe I do have those. Maybe I should look at that. I need some work. So any doubt you might have about how letting go of these thoughts, these worries, these fears, how letting go of those will actually make you less vulnerable, will make you invulnerable, which is completely not vulnerable. When you get to that point where you can really accept that and embrace it, life changes. Life gets better. Things open up. People who you thought were menacing turn out to be teddy bears. So I'm excited for you guys to be doing this lesson. I think it's an incredibly important lesson, and the course comes back to it a few times. Something you'll notice in the course and also in my videos is that a lot of things get repeated. And maybe they're not repeated in exactly the same way. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. But there is a repetition. And it's kind of like this circle where you're starting right here and you're going around and you're experiencing these things and you're learning, and then you're back there, but you're not exactly back there because you were right here. And so then you're going around, and now you're like a little bit higher. And so you're still in that same place and learning that same type of lesson, but you're getting it a little bit better. So it's like this spiral that eventually you get to the middle, and in the middle, I guess that's where you just know absolutely everything. Or maybe you just are connected finally fully to yourself, to your higher self, and living from a place of pure love. Maybe that's what the middle is. It's completely to the middle of pure love. I want to try it. That's why I'm doing these. And it's getting me closer. So have a fantastic day and really try to do this work. Really try to experience it. Dig deep. Don't be afraid, because on the other side, it is good. All right, take care, everybody.